Morning. Welcome to the November 20th meeting of the Lancaster County Board. We start each of our meetings by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, so please join me and stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Clerk, will you please start the meeting?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. 1A is approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, November 13th, 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any corrections to be made? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Yes.
Brinkman?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 1B is approval of the minutes of the joint meeting with the Lancaster County Agricultural Society held on Thursday, November 15th, 2018.
Move approval.
Out there. Were you at the Ag Society meeting?
You want to make a second, Commissioner Avery?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or corrections to the minutes? Please call the roll.
Shore?
Abstain.
Amundson?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Brinkman?
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstention. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through November 20th, 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Avery?
Yes.
Brinkman?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is a special presentation. Regional Prevention Coalition Annual Presentation. Sandy Morrissey, Regional Prevention Coordinator Director.
Good morning, and thank you again for allowing me to see you annually and give you updates. So in front of you, you have a briefing, and I wanted to tell you about the various funding streams coming into the region for prevention efforts, and then talk to you really about what we're doing within Lancaster County specific. So we do receive every year the federal block grant, Substance Abuse Prevention Block Grant. And every year each county within Region 5, so southeast Nebraska, Lancaster, and the surrounding 15 rural counties, they reapply for those dollars. I make it so that it's non-competitive. We want dollars going into each county, but we also want to see that they have a strategic plan and that that's based on data. So this year, Lancaster will not receive federal block grant funds, because the second bullet shows you we have Partnership for Success. This will be the second round. It'll be 5 years. We're in the planning stage right now. I have to submit a plan to the state by December 14th, but we're really looking at probably about $250,000 coming into Lancaster. Southeast Nebraska, I'm helping to form a multi-county coalition, so that would be all the way from Richardson up to Odo. About 50,000 would go into those counties, and Gage County about 20,000. In addition to those two larger pieces, the federal block grant and the Partnership for Success, we have suicide funding. This is my last year with the Garrett Lee Smith. It was a 5-year grant. But I will tell you, we have quite a sustainability plan within Lancaster County. I had 23 social workers through LPS go through to become trainers as QPR trainers, which will sustain that throughout that district, school district. They're willing to do PTOs, work with the students. Every year, legislatively, it's been mandated that all school personnel have to have 1 hour of suicide prevention training, so they can actually do that training. We also are starting to do Hope Squads. We did a lot of research and found the Hope Squads. I think I mentioned that to you the last time I was here. Dr. Hudnall out of Provo, Utah. And we have one at Lincoln High. Lincoln East has some interest. Bryan Learning. It may or may not go with all the high schools. We're also working closely with the social workers to figure out, is there another avenue that we can work on in terms of addressing some of those issues. So I feel like we have a good plan. At my office, every other month, we do adult mental health first aid, and the opposite month, youth mental health first aid. And then if it's larger groups, we will go to their particular organization or community to complete those. Out of all the trainings we do with prevention, the suicide and the mental health first aid, the rooms are filled. We can do a parenting presentation and maybe get 20, even when we have great speakers. So it's interesting. I think people have enough concerns now that they're starting to get on board. The opioid funds, we're going into our second year with those. And remember that within Nebraska, our job is really prevention. We're looking at the coasts and seeing what's happening and really hoping that it's here, but we don't want it to get to the level that it is in other states. So my efforts with prevention, last year we did a big, large public awareness campaign. In some of the rural communities, we put med safes in. They're permanently located at the hospitals in various counties. Lancaster has a good plan with their pharmacists and the Pharmaceutical Association with some of that. So this year, our dollars can also go towards Narcan. We reimburse first responders as well as law enforcement. We did have a training in Beatrice yesterday afternoon. Had quite a few law enforcement more interested in actually getting it. So the state's willing to reimburse up to $75 per kit. It's the nasal spray that they're looking at. So we'll continue to do planning with that and identify community needs. On the second page, I just wanted to tell you, one of the pieces, we're really driving evidence-based programming. And so one of the larger evidence-based programs is Communities Mobilizing for Change, and it allows us to do a lot of various strategies under that evidence-based program. Lancaster County has really jumped on board with that. Know that within LPS, it's been great working with the district office as well as the schools. We have Second Step, which is a social emotional curriculum in absolutely every elementary and middle school. High schools, we're looking at Hope Squads, but we also have some efforts from students in high school themselves. Northeast has kind of taken the lead with it, always in uniform, and it's really about role modeling and wanting to do more youth leadership. So we're going to go with that throughout the high schools. Each high school will probably have their own flair with it, but really building on that leadership and modeling and substance abuse, prevention of that being part of it. But the CMCA process itself is really about policy. So our next piece, because we're doing so much within the schools, we're really wanting families to get involved. So we're going to start addressing family policy. We're going to talk about the fact that we have local policies in place, we have legislation, we have law enforcement, we've got school policy. What's your family policy? And how are you driving that within your family, what your value system, and are you living within that? So we're making community at large that's involved with the coalition be part of that development because there'll be better buy-in. But what you have in front of you is a summary. We did last year a perception survey, and within Lancaster, you got the most surveys completed. It was about 173, and it really was thematic data that we collected. What are themes in the community? What's their perception? Because their perception is their reality. And then what we want to do with that is really talk to them about what your data is showing. Is their perception accurate? Is it the same as what the data is telling us? So what you have in front of you, when you have some time, look it over. Those are community themes. We included the Sociological Research Department at the university, and they helped put this piece together. So we'll use some of this as we work with community large and say, here's perceptions, but quite honestly, here's the data. Here's what we've got in front of us. And so we'll use that to help drive some of the strategies. We're hoping with some of the funds that we hire a social media strategist. We kind of came up with that name, but social media is it. Billboards aren't going to do it anymore. And so we're really taking a look at various ways we can be really savvy with social media and include youth, but really start to do more positive social norming. So we've got some good things going, I think, with this new set of funds and the plan well on its way. I think when I come back to see you next time, you're going to have a good update in terms of what's in place.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Commissioner Amundson?
Yeah, I did have a quick question. You spoke quite a bit about the Lincoln schools?
Yes.
Yes, but what are you into the Malcolm and to the Raymond, the Waverly, the Norris?
Thank you so much for saying that. Yes, absolutely, and with these PFS funds. So second step's going into all of them.
Okay.
Norris is well on its way in terms of mental health first aid. Second step is the big piece, and then we're going to use third millennium, mostly with high school, perhaps some junior high, but it's called Alcohol Wise and Marijuana Wise. So if there's been an infraction, it's an online tool that can be used that's evidence-based and shown to be quite effective in terms of giving kids accurate information. So no, all of our rural are on board. Thank you for asking. Yep.
Any other questions or comments on Sandy's presentation? All right, thanks for being here.
Thanks for your time.
Mr. Clerk, let's proceed with the agenda.
Next is number 4, public hearings. 4A is a county tax amendment number 18012, amending the Lancaster County zoning resolution to add definitions, add uses to the AG, AGR, R and B districts, reorganize AG preservation in the AG district, add special permits, add a new chapter for historic preservation district, and to make other miscellaneous minor changes throughout.
Good morning.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I'm about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Tom Chaka, planning staff. Just handed out to you was some changes that were put into the zoning code after the Planning Commission public hearing. So I'll just briefly go over those. The first one was there was a reference to an address for the county engineers department. We deleted the address out of there. The second one is when under the AG chapter we reorganized where ag preservation criteria, and when that was reorganized it referenced a subsection that was the wrong section. That was updated to reference the right section. Number 3, added homes after mobile. Went back and looked at previous zoning codes, and it was always supposed to say mobile homes, but it was missed in several additions. Number 4 is in the special permit chapter, and that was to clarify that you can have a mobile home in the county if it meets one of the 3 criteria that are listed under it, and tried to clarify that it didn't mean you had to meet all 3, just one of the 3. Number 5 is a special permit for non-conforming and non-standard. We just added non-standard to the title. And the last one was changed, I think it said zoning code to zoning regulations. And then throughout the text there were some changes to spelling and punctuation. So we already had a briefing on this, so I won't go through the whole thing, but hit some of the high points. We added some definitions such as contractor services and early childhood care facility in the definition chapter, amended some other definitions such as recreational facilities to add that it could include a shooting or archery range. That's similar definition to what's in the city zoning. Added some uses in the AGR, R, and B district. Some of those uses were early childhood care facilities, temporary paving plants. In the B district, it included, to try to clarify permitted uses, we included mini warehouse, retail, motor vehicle sales, etc. Under the community unit plan chapter, we clarified that if there was an appeal after planning commission, it was filed with the planning department. That wasn't clear. Under the community unit plan chapter, we added new language on water wells, and also added language on what the health department would require if you're requesting a waiver to a test well. Health department actually wrote that section. And then there was a new chapter added for historic preservation.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who wants to testify on item 4A? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, let's proceed.
Next is County Text Amendment number 18013, amending the Lancaster County Land Subdivision Resolution to clarify minor discrepancies, delete outdated references and other codes, and update requirements for water wells.
Okay. Again, we went through the county subdivision regulations to update that. There was some outdated references, updated titles like change Nebraska Department of Roads to Nebraska Department of Transportation. They, in the code, had also referenced certain sections from Nebraska Department of Transportation that were outdated, and we made those more general so you wouldn't have to worry about updating the section number all the time. We added some new language under subdivision that if there's abandoned railroad right-of-way or surplus property, a subdivision is not required. That was in the city subdivision ordinance, but not the county, and if I'm not mistaken, that's follows state statutes. Again, we amended under preliminary plats. We added some new language about water wells, same language as under the community unit plan and the zoning code. We added some language about allowing block lengths could be greater when there was some unusual circumstance, such as a creek or some type of natural barrier. I just cleaned up some other items throughout.
All right, any questions for Tom? All right, thanks, Tom. Is there anyone else who wants to testify on this item, item 4B? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask the clerk to call the next items under number 5 related to those two public hearings.
5A, this is unfinished business, is a resolution regarding County Text Amendment number 18012, amending the Lancaster County zoning resolution to add definitions, add uses to the AG, AGR, R and B districts, reorganize AG preservation in the AG district, add special permits, add a new chapter for historic preservation district, and to make other miscellaneous minor changes throughout as provided in attachment A.
Move approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5B is a resolution regarding the County Text Amendment number 18013, amending the Lancaster County Land Subdivision Resolution to clarify minor discrepancies, delete outdated references to other codes, and update requirements for water wells as provided in attachment A.
Move approval.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, Mr. Clerk, let's go back and open the public hearing on item 4C, please.
This is vacating a portion of West McKelvey Road located in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Is there anyone who wants to testify on item 4C?
Good morning, I'm Randy Brown.
The clerk's going to want to swear you
I
in.
need swear in here, so do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm Randy Brown from Malcolm with Nadine Link, our village clerk, here in support of the resolution. I'd like to thank the Lancaster County Engineering Department for their help through this process, and in particular Ken Schroeder, who's been very helpful. And thank you, Commissioner Brinkman, for your support of our project and your guidance along the way as we clear the way for 2 new ball fields for the children of Malcolm. I'm here to answer any questions and address any concerns about the project. And to that end, we do have a question from a member of the Malcolm community regarding the Lancaster Engineering Department's study, probably noted as Attachment A before the commissioners. And as part of that study, item number 5 says that it is unknown if there is existing utility use in this portion of statutory road right-of-way easement. Therefore, if approved, retaining a blanket utility easement is recommended. I think that the question from our community is that would that preclude any type of utilities being run across this portion of the right-of-way for the building of our new ball fields.
All right. We're going to conduct the public hearing, and then we'll have some an opportunity to ask staff questions when the item comes up under number 6, so we will follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Any questions for Randy? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Ken Schroeder, Lancaster County Engineering Department. Our office was asked to submit a report in response to a petition to vacate a portion of County Road 1060, which is just southeast of Malcolm. That was a petition road, petition back in 1884, about 6 miles long from the West County line to about Highway 79. Most all of that road was constructed, except for in this area between Northwest 105th and the angled highway, that spur that goes into Malcolm. So I don't believe there was ever a road there. We support the vacation of this portion of the road. We did find that back in 1949, the road didn't have the gradual curve to it, but so maybe in this little area right here, there might have been 90 to 100 feet of the road that was actually there. But since then, the county has purchased the right-of-way for that Northwest 105th Street. So I guess we don't have any need for that. It would require a bridge to go over the creek. I don't think there was any need for any to retain this easement, so we're in favor of vacating that portion that was petitioned.
Okay. Any questions for Ken? Is there anyone else here that wants to testify on this item as part of the public hearing? All right. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and ask the clerk to call item 6A. This is under new business, a resolution in a matter of vacating a portion of West McKelvey Road located in Lancaster County, Nebraska. Okay, with regard to Randy's question and maybe some other issues related to the resolution, I'm going to ask Jennifer Holloway from the County Attorney's Office to come to the microphone. And would Engineer Dingman, can you talk about the utility easement? That'd be great. Can we talk about the utilities first?
Lancaster County Engineer Pam Dingman, at the pleasure of the chair, speaking about utilities first. So, vacation of easements and right-of-way always ends up being one of those things that there's a lot of nuances to it. It's always a little more complex than people think it's going to be. Of course, this having been set up in the 1800s as a section line road easement. So technically, as Lancaster County, we only have the authority to vacate the road easement. if other utilities have located within that easement and exist there now, then they still have a right to be there even though we have, and they have to be separately vacated. So we could vacate the easement, and if there's a telephone line in there, their easement would still be implied and have to be vacated separately. So we're only vacating the part, or recommending vacation of the part of the easement which we have authority over.
Thank you. Any other questions for Engineer Dingman? Okay, Jennifer, can you please talk to the segment of the resolution that's linked from our agenda that is not complete, and what the options for the board are there, please?
So essentially, the board, when looking into vacating a roadway or anything like that, you guys have three options. So you guys can either choose not to vacate and keep it for the public purpose. You can choose to go through the surplus sale process, or you can revert it back to private ownership, which would go to 1/2 each to the adjacent landowners. So in this case, I believe the Malcolm is the owner on both sides, so it would go to them. Now, again, you guys, like I've told you guys have historically done surplus sales, but you know, sometimes you have fee simple, sometimes you own everything, sometimes you just own an easement. It just kind of depends on the ownership interest that the county has. Because we just have an interest or an easement, we would suggest that you just revert it back to the private owner on both 1/2 to each side of the adjacent landowners. That would be our suggestion. Depending on what you guys decide, we have a resolution for all three. So whichever one you guys decide to do, you'll be approving, or you'll be signing the one that follows that option.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion or more questions for the county attorney's office from the board?
A motion?
I'm ready for a motion.
I would,
Make a motion that we revert said property back to the original ownership on both sides.
I second that.
Okay. And that would include approval of the resolution with that language, yes?
Yeah.
The one of the three.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
If I could just share a story, we recently had Student County Government Day here, and we had quite a few kids from Malcolm. And I shared this story about some things that county government does in working with other municipalities. And it was an interesting story because they were excited about the new ball fields, and they were aware that this process is going on. So it was real hands-on local government experience. And they were great kids, by the way.
Good.
Thank you, Commissioner Schor. Mr. Clerk, please proceed with the agenda.
6B is a contract with Kubert Appraisal Group in the amount of $7,300 for appraisal services for a project on North 14th Street and Mill Road.
Move approval?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. C is an amendment to County Contract C-18-601 with Kubert Appraisal Group to exclude certain 2018 Tax Equalization Review Commission appeals from the scope of the 2018 Turk expert contract.
Move approval?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. D is an amendment to County Contract C-17-760 with Great Plains Appraisal, Inc. to include certain 2018 Tax Equalization Review Commission appeals in the scope of the 2017 Turk expert contract.
Move approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 6E is a lease agreement with CenterPoint for approximately 8,947 square feet of office space at Midtown Center. The term of the agreement is from September 1st, 2018 to August 31st, 2023. CenterPoint will pay the county $5,591.88 per month for the first 24 months and $5,703.71 per month for the remaining term of the agreement.
Good morning.
Good morning, Karen Peterson, Property Management. You have before you the lease agreement for CenterPoint. As you all know, they do office at that existing building. They've been there for a number of years. It's beneficial to both sides to be locked into some form of a term and have a written understanding of what the rental rates and the terms are going to be. We're proposing leaving the rental rates alone for 2 years and then a 2% bump for the remaining term of the lease. As a reminder, as the tenant, as the person that's using the building, they're paying for all the utilities, all the maintenance. They are responsible for capital improvement items as well, and they also reimburse Lancaster County for the property insurance.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or any questions for Karen? All right, please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. F is change order number 2 to county contract C-18-373 with JJK Construction LLC for an increase of $4,168.92 due to the painting of previously unexposed portions of steel piling and changing the erosion control material type.
Move approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 6G is amending a recommendation from the purchasing agent and county engineer to award and execute a purchase order to various vendors for spring gravel haul to Lancaster County stockpiles as follows. Bill Trucking, Inc. in the amount of $416,300. Lyman Ritchie Corporation in the amount of $198,625. RL Team Construction in the amount of $128,400. The total cost of the county for all vendors is $743,325.
Move approval.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. H is a grant contract with Asian Community and Cultural Center in the amount of $56,316 for the ACC Serving Refugee and Other Immigrant Youth Program. The contract is funded by the Nebraska Commission on Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice Juvenile Services Grant. The term of the grant contract is July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 6I is a grant contract with Omni Behavioral Health in the amount of $24,112 for the Functional Family Therapy Program. The contract is funded by the Nebraska Commission on Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice's Community-Based Juvenile Services Aid Grant. The term of the grant contract is July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. J is a grant contract with Omni Behavioral Health in the amount of $21,815 for the Truancy Diversion Program. The contract is funded by Juvenile Justice Prevention Funds for the period of October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second. All right, with a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 7, consent items. Utility permits with the following. Number 1723, allowing Arrowhead Pipeline Services to repair underground gas pipeline under Pester Ridge Road, approximately 200 linear feet east of Southwest 25th Street. There's no cost to the county. Number 1730, allowing Arrowhead Pipeline Service to do underground gas service under West Foreman Drive west of Southwest 12th Street. There is no cost to the county. Amendments to the following contracts. County Contract C-16-668 with Rise and Shine for the cleaning services, County Engineering Office, Shop and Weed Control Office. The amendment renews the contract from November 28, 2018 through November 27, 2019. The estimated cost of the county is not to exceed $18,900. County Contract C-18-177 with U.S. Bank, using the State of Nebraska contract number 5032404 for P-card services. The amendment extends the contract from November 15, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. County Contract C-16-701 with LeGrand Excavating, Inc. for their annual services, snow and ice removal, city and county facilities. The amendment renews the contract from December 16, 2018 through December 15, 2019. The cost of county should not exceed $35,000. County Contract C-16-702 with Mr. Yards and More, LLC for their annual services, snow and ice removal, city and county facilities. The amendment renews the contract from December 16, 2018 to December 15, 2019. The cost of county shall not exceed $3,000.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second. With a motion and a second, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 8, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the board at this time? Okay, please continue.
Next is number 9, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will not hold a staff meeting on Thursday, November 22nd, 2018, due to the Thanksgiving holiday. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, November 27th, 2018 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commission@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, that ends our regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. I will now open the Tuesday, November 20th meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Equalization. Mr. Clerk, please proceed with the agenda.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meetings available from the county clerk staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Also in attendance today is Scott Gaines from the County Assessor's Office. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, November 6, 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or corrections? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is notice of taxable status for the following. School District Number 1, City of Lincoln, and this is for 2 parcels. Lancaster County School District Number 1, also known as LPS, 2 parcels. Lincoln School District Leasing Corp.
Good morning, Scott Gaines, Deputy Assessor, Register of Deeds. These are parcels that we've recently discovered from visiting with LPS and their affiliates, that properties they own for future school sites, presumably, that are currently being leased to farmers and actively being farmed. So this is just to put them on notice that these items will be subject to tax, and there is 30-day appeal upon receipt of the notice.
And so the action you want us to take is to approve the notice?
Approve the board sending the notice to them to notify them of the taxable status, yes.
Okay.
I so move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
And
Commissioner Shore?
you have had conversations with LPS staff? This
Yes,
is not
we
coming
have.
as a surprise?
Yes, we have.
Okay, thank you.
That was my question.
Any other discussion or questions for Scott? Okay, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 4, public hearing, 4A. This is for motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Excuse me. Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital, Nebraska Lutheran Campus Ministry Corp., Christian Heritage Children's Homes, the American Legion, Department of Nebraska, St. Paul United Methodist Church, Lincoln Cats Youth Group, Catholic Social Services, Tabitha Inc., Centerpoint Inc., and Vital Services Inc.
All right, is there anyone here to testify on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask the clerk to call the related item.
This would be number 5, action on motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Clerk, please open the public hearing on item 4B.
This is tax exemption on real and personal property for Nebraska Communities Playhouse. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. There's a lot of moving pieces with this property and the property adjoining it. I'll try and simplify it as best I can. This nonprofit organization just recently purchased this vacant lot. Our understanding from visiting with them is that their intention is to raise funds and to construct a playhouse for the community use at some time in the spring or in the future. So, as for the exemption application for 2018, regulations are very clear. Vacant lots that are held for future use are not an exempt use, and the property for 2018 should remain taxable. So our recommendation is for 2018, it should be a taxable piece as well. We can revisit next year once they have their funds and the construction starts. This isn't a rule on the validity of the project or the nonprofit status of the organization or the future activities, but as it stands right now with just a pure vacant lot, we can't approve an exemption.
Commissioner Shore.
If memory serves me correct, the property is very near the existing playhouse. What if it was used for parking, for staff, for volunteers, for actors, for, you know?
And we broached that very specific question with them, and they said absolutely is not used for parking at the present time. There may be some survey markers out there, but the response we got that it was not used for any parking or anything at this point.
Are there other questions?
And there may be representatives that would give you more up-to-date information, but that was the exchange that we had with them.
Any other discussion? Okay, thanks, Scott. Is there anyone else here who wants to testify on this item?
Do we need to be sworn?
Yes, if you want to. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
We do, yep.
Can you state your names for the record, please?
Rex Walmsley.
Robert Walmsley.
Thanks.
There's two pieces of property involved with the stage theater. There's the one that he talked about, the new construction. It's currently got survey markers on it. Geotechnical survey's been done. Construction, we'd like to think will begin in the spring. Additionally, there's the current playhouse that we're in that we can't expand because it's in a floodplain. And obviously we've outgrown that facility, but that facility was offered to us at a very much reduced amount, and it's an existing playhouse. So we went ahead and we've purchased that, and we're going to combine these two properties together into the new Nebraska Communities Playhouse. And what it does for us, it gives us a small theater for a youth theater. It gives us a second theater for rehearsals. It doesn't give us the new bigger theater that we need to meet the community requirement. We do have a need for parking. That was a good point. And the city's asked us, can we use that space for parking? Because if there's any activities going on until we begin construction, if there's any activities going on in the new community building, then we just overwhelm the downtown part. And people have to then park on the other side of the railroad tracks. And as long as for the Christmas show, there's really no reason we couldn't have people park there and really into the spring until we begin construction. And then the facilities will be linked together. They'll become one big community playhouse. We do need the bigger theater, and so work's going to proceed with that. But this really solves our smaller second theater problem, and that'll save us significant money. Then we don't have to put a second theater in this new building right away. So that's where we are, if that's helpful.
Any questions for Rex or Robert? Commissioner Shore?
No,
Did you want to
no.
say anything? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who wants to testify as part of the public hearing on this item?
If I could ask Scott, knowing that they're going to be parking cars there for the Christmas show, does that change your mind?
Okay.
All right, anyone else that wants to testify? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing on item B1, and I'll ask the clerk to call the correlating item, please.
This is number 6, action on tax exemption on real and personal property.
I move approval of the recommendation of the county assessor.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone from the public that wants to make comments to the Board of Equalization? Seeing none,
Move we adjourn?
Second?
we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
we are adjourned.